so many rumors about Remco leaving Quickstep in the last 4 years of cycling. It's been Ineos, it's been Red Bull, it's been Visma Bike merger, etc. It's been merger news two off seasons ago or something. Like, there's been a lot of crap about Remco potentially leaving the team of Soudal Quickstep. Let's be honest about it. We had this discussion in January. In our Soudal Quickstep preview, we came to the conclusion that Remco leaving Soudal Quickstep in 2025, at the end of 2025,
it's the most logical.
Seemed like the most logical outcome.
For both parties.
If you take a look at the situation that they're contractually in, Remco has a contract until the end of 2026. But if he leaves at the end of 2025, that is the last opportunity for Soudal Quickstep to receive buyout money for a transfer of Remco Evenepoel. And therefore, that's money, that's a treasure chest that you can build something for the future with for the team. Now, I don't know what the ties of Soudal and Quickstep are, because I'm pretty sure Soudal joined because of Remco, and Quickstep, I'm not sure how they see their future in the sport.
I think they both made recommitments that they will continue to be in the team even when Remco leaves.
Okay. Next to that, Remco Evenepoel, personal bike sponsorship with Specialized. Quickstep obviously also had Specialized. I don't know what the length is of the Remco Specialized deal, how long that is, etc. But the way everyone's talking about it, the way the rumors are going, Specialized is still tied to Remco for the foreseeable future, including next year. So that's an important factor in the transfer situation. For example, if Ineos as a team, if we take a look at Ineos as a potential candidate team for Remco to go to, Ineos, Total Energy, whatever it's going to be called next year, they had Pinarello as bike sponsor for the past. Now, there was some stories about Pinarello. First of all, the fact that the dude that owns Q36.5, that South African rich guy, he also is the owner or majority owner, I'm pretty sure, of Pinarello now.
Ivan Glasenberg, former CEO of Glencore.
Q36.5 currently rides with a Scott bike, but we'll see if that changes to Pinarello in the foreseeable future as well. But the Ineos Pinarello storyline also seemed to be coming to an end, which left an option open for Specialized to perhaps come in as a bike sponsor for that team, which might open up the transfer of Remco Evenepoel. But now the area seems to be going to Red Bull BORA hansgrohe, who's already riding on Specialized, so the link is already there. And then the question is, Red Bull BORA hansgrohe, Remco Evenepoel. Current situation of Remco Evenepoel, he can podium the Tour de France. We've seen that last year. But he's still pretty far away from Tadej Pogacar and Jonas Vingegaard. That is what we've seen last year and up to this point this year.
I don't think he is.
You don't think he's that far away from Tadej Pogacar?
No, Vingegaard and Pogacar even. Like, the watts he must be pushing in the TTs, and he must be pushing good watts to beat Pog.
Personally, based on the way Soudal Quickstep has ridden with Remco in the last, even just in the last month, if you look at the last month, they make so many detailed mistakes that shows that they don't have the experience as a GC team yet. You pointed at it today. We saw, with about 50 kilometers to go in today's stage, we see UAE come to the forefront in the peloton. UAE is pacing. Pogacar knows, okay, if I stay within my team here at the front of the peloton, I'll be in more wind. Pogacar moves to the belly of the peloton to not be in as much wind in a moment where there's no safety risk of being in the belly of the peloton. Remco's sitting with his entire team from P6 to P12 in the peloton, taking more wind than Pogacar is, whose team is pacing. That's such a small detail, but those are the details that matter. Those are the details that can bring Remco to a higher level. And it's not just that. Well, I mean, it's positioning, stuff like that.
The broader problem is they just have absolutely no idea how to prepare a plan to maximize Remco's GC result in a stage race according to his strengths and weaknesses. I mean, they just look at these stages, which, by the way, he's a two-time Liège-Bastogne-Liège winner. He's an Olympic road race champion on hilly parkour. And they look at these stages and
they ride defensively.
They look at them as if, to just get through them. And it's like, well, Almeida was fucked today. I mean, Vingegaard wasn't fucked, but what if he was? Because he had a bad day yesterday and you don't try anything today and you let him walk through it. I mean, in the end, Visma were pacing, but these guys like Almeida who might outclimb him in weeks 2 and 3, and then they walk through these opportunities. And so
Because like if you look at Remco, the way you approach this Tour de France, we said it a week ago in the preview already of this Tour de France. There's, I think, 4 pillars, I'd say. Time trial, you take time. That's an obvious one. The second one is try to prevent crashing in the first week, because it's a very technical parcours the first week. And we've seen Solar Quickstep be weak when it comes to positioning Remco before these smaller hills, etc. They've had a few good hills in this Tour de France, but a few terrible ones as well. Stage 1 in the echelons, big mistake. Now, that is number 2. Number 3 is, on the climbing, don't try to follow Pogacar and Vingegaard attacking each other. Ride your own race.
Oh, he did that on stage 4.
Big mountain stages I'm talking about.
Sorry.
Because on the mountain stages, you can't afford to do that. You're going to explode yourself by doing that. You'll corner yourself. And the fourth one was, ride the first week, knowing that on these terrains you can have an advantage on certain riders. Whether it's your podium competitors or perhaps a Vingegaard.
So, like, if he gets in a group with Vingegaard and Pog's going to relay. Fuck it. I mean, maybe Vingegaard relays in this new aggressive mode.
Yeah.
And then Almeida's not going to pace behind. It's free time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's anyway, but okay, you can say all that about Quickstep. I still think Remco at Quickstep, I mean, he's won at the team. Let's not forget.
He's been successful.
He's won 64 races at Quickstep, twice a Monument, a Grand Tour, Olympic Games, World Championships, road race, 2 times the time trial. He's won a whole host of major big races, 2 Tour de France stages, podium. I think his career has been very good at Quickstep. My question, Benji, is why is Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe any more competent or better than Quickstep?
Well, I want to add 2 things to what you just said, including the question. First of all, I agree that he's been very successful at Quickstep, but at a certain point, Remco wants to win the Tour de France. And at Quickstep, that is not within the view at the moment, in my opinion. Based on the way they've approached the last 2 years and have grown in the last years, yes, Landa has come to the team, is not part of this Tour de France team. Vrvaco was out with injury, but I don't feel like Quickstep is any closer than last year or the year before to Remco Evenepoel winning the Tour de France at that team.
No.
Also,
it's the 1 weeks as well, Benji.
Also hearing financially that the team is not exactly rich. While Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, I agree. Right now, they're not looking like a team that can help Remco in the next 1.5 years either, in terms of closing the gap. But
the names are better.
They've got the financial backing to build in the next 1.5 years to make it happen in maybe 2-3 years.
Yeah, like Red Bull have got the GC names. They've got Hindley, Giro winner. I think if Remco goes, to me that means Roglic is out. I just don't see how that will work. And Roglic in this Tour de France is, I mean, he's normally pretty, magnanimous. I always see how it goes, but he's really saying actively, I don't care. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Which
to riders as well. We heard Plappy talk about it on the Stanley Social podcast.
Maybe Roglic is happy to do Giro of Vuelta next year. Remco gets the Tour and it can work like that. I mean, they have better stage racing riders on paper. The problem is they haven't performed this year, Benji.
Yep.
So,
and just the way the team has taken on the Cobble Classics, the way the team has taken on, I didn't have an issue with the Grand Tour roster they brought up for the Tour de France, but the way they've been using them at the Tour de France is disturbing to me. And I think Remco should always also be able to see that. Now, there's also an addition to that. We just today had the announcement in Belgian media, including an article from Bram van der Capelle, etc., that Sven van Turnhout, which was the head coach of the Belgian national team in the last 4-ish years, ever since the Leuven World Championships that year, 2021.
Yeah, the sack and disgrace of Leuven 21.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
He was the architect.
He was the architect of that. Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe is now hiring him as part of their sportive division. I don't know what specific role yet. But can I be honest? Can I be really honest?
You can be honest, Benji. This is indeed...
I'm not bullish on Sven van Turnhout. If I look at his track record in the Belgian Championships, you'll say, okay, but Benji, he's won multiple World Championships with Remco Evenepoel. Look at the specific situations we're talking about. If we talk pure race strategy for a second, he completely bottled the race strategy of the World Championships in Leuven when it's not rocket science. When you've got a Belgian national team with Wout van Aert and Remco Evenepoel in the squad, then Remco Evenepoel is your attacking offensive rider early.
Then there weren't many. You're forgetting 21, Benji. Remco Evenepoel was some washed up, overhyped, useless bum, and Wout van Aert. and everyone should just ride for Wout van Aert. And
that was the feeling.
And bring him to the sprint at the finish.
That was pure bullshit. Everyone knew that.
And me and you were like, and eventually they did it last year in the Olympics. Attack with Remco, Wout blocks behind, race over.
But it's also just the scenario around that. The fact that after the World Championships of Leuven that was a disaster. Sven van Toornhout was publicly liking tweets that were roasting Remco Evenepoel on Twitter.
That was a
disgrace.
That was a crazy thing. It's like, bro, you designed a plan that made no sense. So
now, I guess their relationship must have grown a little bit since that moment throughout the years that they have won World Championships. But the victories of Remco Evenepoel were also the individual strength of Remco Evenepoel pulling it together with the help of maybe a Quinten Hermans going into a move with him, etc. That wasn't tactical masterpieces on the table. So I don't see the tactical prowess of Sven van Toornhout as a DS or something, but I don't know if behind the scenes maybe he has some like social skills and stuff like that, which he didn't show in 2021, that's for sure. But maybe there's some management skills behind the scenes that we don't know about that makes him perfect for a certain role within that sportive division that we can't see from the outside.
Man, I don't see. So you got Ralph Denk at the top, but now Red Bull has an opinion, right? The Red Bull, the company who bought the team. And you got Ralph Aldag, who's like the senior DS. And now you bring in Sven van Toornhout. Where does that fit in the org structure?
I've got no clue, mate.
So
what's happening with Pachi Villa?
Oh, I think he might. I think the Giro didn't go so good.
I don't think the Giro went so good either, but
I don't know. But maybe this is what Remco wants, and Sven, that he wanted a Belgian guy in who he knows, who he has had success under, winning major races with Sven in the car and planning everything. So I don't know, but I think that Van Toornhout being hired.
Are we overrating the importance of race strategy for hiring a person like that?
I mean, my personal opinion is I completely disagree with moving to just one of two teams because they have the bike brand that you're currently riding. Like
how easy it is for Remco to ditch his Specialized contract
I don't know.
To go to another team. We don't know that.
Movistar or Bahrain are better places for Remco to go than Red Bull BORA.
Ooh.
Movistar has a long history of... Movistar's problem is not that they are not good at riding for GC. Look at Ivan Garcia Cortina. Look at Nelson Oliveira in this race. Their problem is, all due respect, Enric Mas has a ceiling. And that ceiling is second in the Vuelta. They have a good time trial set up for Castrillo and Romeo. They got very good results in this TT. They have Ivan Velasco as their engineer there. And they have a long history for a number of years. And they really know how to ride for GC. Like we criticize them because that's all they do. Movistar just ride. Will Barter in the break today, I acknowledge, but they are a proper GC team. Bahrain as well know how to ride for GC. I'm just saying that
Bahrain does not have the money.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have the money. But
it's Malisa bike.
Yeah, like people will be laughing at Movistar. How can you say that? They're clown. Like,
mate, Luke posted it on Twitter the other day
about Movistar,
about his Malisa bike.
Then I don't see that happening most likely. I mean, but every team would want Remco. He's the third best rider in the world?
Yeah.
Fourth best rider in the world at worst. So, but it seems like he's going to Red Bull. It's because of the bike brand most likely. Ineos apparently are out. I think it would be a good fit at Ineos
it's exactly what we guessed at the start of the season, that he would go to Red Bull BORA hansgrohe. Regardless of our opinion whether it's a good choice or not, I think it's a better choice than staying at Quick-Step. I don't think it's the instant step to success. I think it's going to be a project for the next 2 years.
Yeah, but Benji's turning 26 or soon.
Yeah, but Pogacar also still exists.
But he's seventh.
So he's got time.
He's seventh, 8th year professional. The next 3 years are probably next 3-4 years are Remco's prime.
Which team is perfect? Movistar is not perfect for me either. It's also not going to be an instant success.
Dude, I think Movistar are actually really good. Because they will...
Enric Mas super domestique.
First of all, they just know, like, who was in position behind Visma at the right corner on stage 1? Movistar. So they know which brakes are going. Okay, it's unrealistic not happening. I think Ineos was the more realistic other one. I think they got the big trucks. They would be very committed. They have the history of winning Grand Tours, also post-COVID with Bernal, Gegenhardt. But I don't know. And it's also, there's no competition at Ineos.
That's true.
Carlos Rodriguez.
Benjamin Oval in 7 years.
Yeah, exactly. It's time for him to come up, but they got good TTs. They, Ganna. They got.
Is there competition at Red Bull BORA hansgrohe? Lipovic and Roglic?
No, but
Roglic is not competition for me for Remco in 2026.
No, I don't. That will be ironed out. That's like a 1 year short term thing, and they'll probably have a different race program. But yeah, like
Lipovic won't want to instantly ride for Remco now.
The Jai Hindley and Lipovic dream of riding for Remco Evenepoel.
Well, Jai Hindley, his bad luck is that because he's been riding so much as a domestique recently.
Yeah, I mean,
he doesn't have the right to say that he wants GC leadership anymore.
Does Giulio Pellizzari dream of it?
Well, he has no choice in the near future either, in my opinion.
I know but that's easy for us to say. It's easy for us to say, oh, well.
But those riders will have that expectation.
It's easy for us to say, well, you're not as good as Remco.
That's true.
That's true.
But then McNulty wants to ride for a top 10 at the Giro, for example.
You're not as good as Remco, therefore you're going to commit 100% and you're going to help him and lose your GC position. And Maxim Van Hills, I know we signed you on a 3-year deal, bought you out, big money from Lotto. Sorry, by the way, at Liège-Bastogne-Liège this year, you're doing the lead out for Remco.
That's where people management and signing without an actual planned transfer vision becomes a problem.
Yeah, and, like Visma had it as well. Vingegaard came up, and eventually it became untenable with Roglic or even with Groenewegen. That was amicable. It was amicable, but in the end, it's like, well, he's not doing the tour.
Koi is another example.
He's out of contract.
He's out of contract, but also Tour de France. At the end of the day, he doesn't get that Tour de France sprinter role at Visma bike so far.
So these things, riders in there, you don't have so long at the top. Most normal riders got even the superstars and a really good rider, like Maxim Van Hills is a really, really good rider. He's got 5 good years, really good years to win races. And if you get signed to do that, I'm sure you can manage it. UAE actually manage it reasonably well by having a broader program. Ayuso, he's still on the team, so you can't say that it's completely disintegrated, but it's tricky. And I think even with UAE, it will reach a tipping point with a Jan Christen and
how old is Vingegaard? 28-ish?
Something like that.
How old is Pogacar now? 26?
Vingegaard's turning 29 this year.
I always forget that Vingegaard is older than Pogacar because Pogacar's been around longer,
Pogacar's turning 27 this September.
It's actually a realistic thing that Vingegaard's lifeline is going to be shorter. I think that Visma bike also needs to, not right now yet, but also needs to think about what will happen in 3-4 years when it comes to Jonas Vingegaard, for example. Because there's also a temporary lifeline there. And we can joke around with the article of his wife, etc.
But even UAE are not sleeping on their laurels.
Yeah.
UAE have got guys signed till 2030. Pablo Torres, Jan Christen.
Because Brennan's a great rider for Visma, but he's not a GC rider.
Hey. You don't know that? I mean, I'd be surprised if he was a GC rider.
Because Remco right now is still eligible for the white jersey.
Yeah. It depends.
Right now, it's not compatible for Visma bike to sign Remco Evenepoel.
Well, that's where I go back to the bike thing, Benji. I mean, you can throw these teams around. You say Visma, I say Movistar, I even like FDJ and Bahrain, but...
Decathlon?
I don't know what they're doing, frankly. At the end of the day, he can only choose... How many special teams are there?
Well, Total Energy, the small team, but we don't consider that one.
He can only choose Red Bull or Ineos if they switch from Pinarello to Specialized.
And Bahrain could have switched to Specialized, but he switched to Bianchi.
They're going
to
Bianchi next year. So it's the same thing happened with Demi Vollering. When you have these bike deals, it narrows your field to a certain team, unless that target team that's perfect for you just changes bike, which is what FDJ Suez did. They changed to Spec. Now, Ineos, it seems that couldn't happen, or Remco didn't want to go there. I don't know. I mean, this is also a rumor. Let's be very clear. It's a rumor.
It's a rumor, but can I be personally honest? I'm pretty confident he's leaving Quickstep.
This has to be the year because, like you said, Benji, for Quickstep, this is the time. If you want to get maximum value out of an expiring contract, you can't let a guy walk. And in a football, it's a free transfer. So
if Soudal and Quickstep are okay with it, because otherwise, if they say on the stat on the table and they say, if Remco leaves, we're gone, Jürgen Fouré won't let the team die to let Remco have his desired transfer.
Yeah, because what if they say we want to run it back next year? Go for the Tour again with Remco, and he's under contract. I mean, then you.
But then the transfers, the rumored transfers for Quickstep, are not exactly inspiring me. Stef Kras is a solid signing. I like the guy, but he's not going to move the needle in the Tour de France. And then I look at the rest of the potential signings.
Who are they supposed to be getting? Like
I forgot.
Sturven or something?
It's not GC broadening the Remco team.
Yeah, I think it's like the rumors I saw were like a lot of Belgian guys, classics guys, and they have a better train around.
Alberto Dainese was also rumored.
I actually like that one, but we'll do that in a later podcast.
Was that a Benson rumor?
I don't know.
Or Ciro one?
Ciro one, I think, because it was Italian, but I actually like that one.
And then Cattaneo is already rumored to go to
BORA with Remco, yeah.
Which we hear from the rumors already that he's part of a potential package deal. But then my question then on top of that, we're going on a long discussion here, but if we hear about the package deal, because that's what we're talking about here, there's a supposed package deal of Remco plus Cattaneo plus I think his nephew that also works for the team, etc., but also Klaas Lodewijk DS.
Moscon extension.
The more people that you take with you...
Wait, Lodewijk
was also on the list, yes? That reaction. The more people you take with you...
Come on.
The less you're going to have a new environment that might lift you up.
That's the point. Yeah. Okay, I
feel like Patrick wants to jump off this building at the moment.
If you want the same as before, do the same as before. Anyway. Maybe Benji, you can come third in the Tour with stage wins on Quickstep, and maybe you can do the same on BORA and get paid a lot more. Bring you guys over. Why not do it like that?
Yeah, but on top of that, I see more financial backing at Red Bull and more future-proofness for that team. They're not getting the right at the moment, both when it comes to the Classics and the Tour de France and Grand Tours in general.
But the money and backing
this year has been a failure for the team of Red Bull, BORA, hansgrohe.
Hey, Lipovic isn't finished.
Meus has actually been like the forefront of getting wins every now and then. But I think give it 1.5 to 2 years and the team tries to actually build it properly. But then again, some of the building it right now, manner of the team, is worrying me whether they can actually achieve that in 2 years. But I think it's more likely than a Quickstep.
Yeah, they just got more money for better domestiques. Like, look at the climbing roster. It's obviously way better on paper. But that being said, Landa crashed out. He would have been here. Lando in the mountains would be better than Lipovic or Roglic. So, you know, shiny new... The grass is not always greener, I would say, on the other side. That's the general... Especially
when you don't know whether Lipovic will ride for Remco. Whether you don't know... Roglic definitely won't ride for Remco, that's for sure.
I mean, nor should he, to be honest. Nor should he. Like,
he shouldn't.
He's got 1 year left, maybe. Like,
he should do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah. Why should he? That's not why he was signed. Okay, but we'll see. Apparently, we'll see that news after the Tour de France. We'll see have more transfers on the 4th of August, or the start of August rather, when the official transfers can be announced.